Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Binding of Isaac Repentance. We have a beautiful rant today. So I just posted on Twitter, if you guys had any suggestions, just like what I do in the comments down below. And we got a few good ones. So I want to start with something I talked about very briefly, I think maybe 150 episodes ago. Now, heck, I may even have talked about it on the podcast as well. But I want to talk about past lives. Now, I have a few topics as well, so if this gets cut short, then I will gladly talk about more. But I believe in past lives for sure. I'm very spiritual. That's not how I was brought up. I was brought up Christian, actually. And at a point of my life, my mother was a Sunday school teacher. Oh boy, was that fun. It was not fun. I was never in her class, and I could never be in her class, apparently, because of special treatment of the Lord. Apparently, I would get some hidden lessons of the Lord behind the under the table, if you will. By golly, just what I always wanted. Now, I'm not here to talk about religion, because this is what I believe in, and what I think, or anything in that regard, where some religions may push down upon past lives and everything on what you believe, and if that is the fact, and you are just like, man, I can't listen to this, I completely understand. My one thing is, the world is not what it used to be, in my opinion, and everything is different and topsy-turvy. And that is going to be what I have to say on that, where I think if you believe in one thing and can't talk about it, as I've said before in many different ways, where we talk about a lot of things we may or may disagree with. It's all about communication. Communication is the key to understanding. But nevertheless, I fully believe this because it's just something that I felt. It's just something that I feel personally, where I'm just like, I've been through this, and it's what I feel. Now, think about it as the Avatar the Last Airbender. They had past lives, and they know certain knowledges of said past lives, which I truly think I have as well. Now, my theory is, it's why I don't do certain things. It's honestly why I don't drink, I don't smoke, because I think in a past life, unfortunately, I OD'd and I died. Now, it's like, one, in this life, I just don't see the point in it. So, hence, I don't even try. I don't even want to try it. Because if it could alter my brain, then what's honestly the point on even trying in a weird way? Because I've known people that it could honestly just ruin their lives, and I don't want to have an addictive personality that could just destroy me in a day, which I truly believe some actions you do could just destroy your life in one day. I truly wholeheartedly believe that, where everything you know could just be gone in a minute via maybe a car accident, you know, for my example, and you just don't know until it happens. And, you know, with alcohol, then that could just affect you. And that's personally why I don't do it, where, for me, I wasn't told this. I don't go to teachers or tarot card readers or anything that's just like, this is what you were. I'm like, okay. But I personally don't believe that. I felt it. And I roll with it. Like I said, I'm more spiritual than anything. I always had a connection with animals and everything. So, I mean, I will probably sound a little crazy, but I don't know how many past lives I lived. I just don't. Where this is where you tell certain people, you know, how you feel, you're a crazy person. And I completely understand. I believe nothing is normal now, where you may have some psychological damage that, you know, this is what you think. Everybody's going to tell you something. I remember one time I had to legally go to a therapist because my stepfather was abusing me, and they thought I was making it up. And then they're just like, you need to get help. And then until one day my mom saw it and they're like, oh my god, he wasn't lying. So unfortunately for my situation, I was in a special needs class where I used to be very ashamed of. I used to be very ashamed of, you know, my handicaps in childhood, where I'm just like, well, I was different than a lot of kids, so I needed some alone time to focus. And then later in life, I'm just like, oh no, I just didn't care enough. Where I'm just like, I wasn't passionate about this at all. I don't care about English class. I don't care about essays or a book report, because none of this matters. So, it was really funny to me, looking back on that. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where if they don't believe you, where they're either going to accept you or think you're crazy. And my therapist told me, to my mom, yeah, he's a liar. He thinks he had past lives, where it's just very, very interesting to me on how people could portray yourself. Because I think that's why some people are very hidden and don't want to say how they feel. And what the Isaac episodes do, okay, where it's a mixture of a rant and a mixture of a gameplay, where I love this. I truly do. Where unfortunately nothing major is happening, so I don't really want to talk about it. But it's just fascinating where if you're listening to this and you disagree, yeah, you may think I'm crazy, especially if I ever get in more detail. But it's very how I believe that I had past lives, because one, as I've said, it's something that I always have felt. You know, life lessons, and when I was younger, I used to have dreams of people that aren't me living through life. And you know, one, I dreamt that I was a cowboy. Not dreamt, but I just felt it. And then he had very chronic anger and sadness, and he just drunk his life away. And welcome to Genesis, by the way, a very terrifying item that I think could change the whole entire run. So I was at saloons, I had the ladies, and you know, I just couldn't take life, so I drank myself asleep and did very stupid things when I was intoxicated. And yeah. Now another one was I was a no-man, a wandering man, and I used to travel place to place with animals and you know, just live by myself and, you know, touch people's hearts as much as I could. And then, you know, I'd ultimately have to leave, and it would be disappointing. And, you know, I had a love of my life, and, you know, unfortunately it was super hard. And yeah, it was a regret in that life where I loved her, and, you know, I had to leave. It was my mission to impact as much people as I could. And the list goes on, where it was I was a knight in old England, where the thing is, for me, now I should do this eventually, but I never did like an Ancestry.com thing where, you know, look at, you know, your past, because unfortunately I have one parent that was my dad, and he cut everybody in his life. He cut everybody out of his life, so you can't ask him a question about his childhood. You can't ask him, who is this? Pictures were never taken. Alright, and unfortunately, growing up, we have a lot of pictures of my sister, but not as me. Which is fine. You know, you can't turn back time, and, you know, I was very young, so I didn't really have a choice of pictures, and I hate pictures now, and that's why I live record my expressions, simply because, well, hey, if you want to see me, you can. I take very bad pictures as well. But it's something that nobody in my family believes in. They don't believe in past lives, and like I said, nor do I really care. It's how I feel, and, you know, I truly believe nothing's really gonna change me on how I feel personally. And I go to Genesis here because I was very scared of dying. So I get piercing shots, I get a supper, I get a tears up. Now I go for the health and damage, and I go with damage because I can't take soul hearts at all. It's leaking. Then I get the lovely Serpent's Tooth. Now, I should have waited until I got more items, but I don't know if I could have even beat it, but now I got the Sun card, so it doesn't really matter to me at all. Resistance just gives me a shield, but I have the Sun card now, and I teleport. So, Genesis, shoutouts to the Angel Room, because you may have potentially changed my whole entire run. But, it's very fascinating to me, where I think a lot of things that we do, could abide by our genetics on your past lives and everything that, you know, you're you. You know, you're you, you ultimately make the decision. And you may have 0 past lives because some people don't. And, you know, some people just don't want to be reincarnated, where I truly believe in my life. I truly believe if you pass away, you have an options at the pearly gates where you could be reincarnated and forget everything, or you could just move on with this presence and keep your memories and live on the pearly gates forever in cloud. And, you know, I truly believe that, you know, where we just don't know. We just don't know. Where I know when I passed away, when I got hit by a car, I know what happened. You know, it wasn't like a fever dream or anything, where I've said this before multiple times, where when I got hit by a car at 17 years old and I died for 4 minutes, my pop told me he loved me, and he said it wasn't your time, and then he pushed me off the cloud, and then I fell back in my body, where it was an amazing experience. And as I've said multiple times, people will always not believe me when I tell that story, because you just don't know. You just don't know, because it's something that I've experienced and you didn't experience. So it's a very, very weird scenario where I don't want to be like, you're wrong, because that's what you believe. You know, that is what you believe. Maybe you're not inclined into believing in afterlife via atheist or something in between that I may not even know, where maybe you believe in something but you want proof. But ultimately, if I'm going to be honest, they're very, very unlikely that we're ever going to get proof. I truly I truly believe that we won't get proof at all in our lifetimes, if any. Where there's some things that you just can't prove. You just can't prove unless if you feel something, or you know something, or you experience something. Where, unfortunately, a lot of people that go through a lot deal with things that other people don't. And that's what I really, I don't mind the life that I lived, because I know it can be gone in a day. And truthfully, wholeheartedly, I'm my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy for sure, because I don't know what could happen. I just don't, and I personally don't want to know. Where, as long as I'm not in control of the fate that I have, I'm completely okay with that. Where I know I'd live through life, be like, okay, I as of this point, where if it all ended tomorrow, I'd be like, I hated my life. Where I didn't do a lot of things that I wanted, but I think the pain for me personally keeps me motivated and keeps me going. I truly believe that. But with past lives, where it's something that you gotta feel. It's something that you just know. Where in my experience, I believe that people have the gift of telling you your past. I truly do. But for me, I don't think I'd believe them, because it's something that I feel and I already know about. Because nobody's gonna tell me how I feel and what I believe and what I see, except if I tell them. Where it's very interesting to me about certain things. Now, it's just fascinating. It's just very, very fascinating. Hey, also that HP upgrade is very, very fascinating. But I mean, it's a very, very hot topic. I don't think it's as a hot topic, because it's very weird. Okay, how times have changed. I think now more than ever, people don't care about religion. I think there's a certain group of people where they care about your sexuality, what you believe in, and that's it. Like everything else, this generation doesn't care. I'm a firm believer in they don't care, and good on you. I think there is still racism around. I think there's a lot of things around, but with religion and what you think about it, I just don't think less people care more than ever, because I think the only people that conform to the religion that they're given is the people that the parents they push on them. Where I was very lucky, as I've said, where my mother was a Sunday school teacher, but at this certain age, she basically said, "All right, you're an adult. I'm not gonna force you on what you believe in." It's just like you don't care, and I'm so glad, because I am not one of those people at all where when I'm at my lowest, then I believe. No, I can't. I know a lot of people that do that. For me, it's weird, because it's one of those people. Okay, I'm gonna say the G word, the G man up there. All right, God himself. He says, I will forgive all sins as long as you repent. And it's very interesting to me that there's a being out there that will love you for you as long as you believe in them at your lowest or when you need them. Where there's no loyalty as long as you repent and forgive your sins. But not in the moment that you did your sins. Because apparently all sins could be forgiven, and then you shall be forgiven by them. So, it's not like Santa at all, where he sees you while you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. And no, I didn't compare Santa to the G-Man, but before people are just like, did you just do that? No, I was making a joke. But who knows? Maybe Santa could be your religion. I don't know. Religion is just one of those types of things where, for me at least, I just don't care about certain things in life. I could give a rat's behind. I just don't. And I think that's what's really happening, where the good thing is, if a lot less people care about the less important things, life would be better. I truly believe life would be so much better face to face. Face to face. I truly believe that. Where it shouldn't matter what your race is, what your sex is, it shouldn't matter. What you believe in, because everybody has a story. Everybody on this earth has a story to tell, but nobody cares. Unless if you ask, unless if you're interested in them. It's fair. It's honest, and that's what I believe in. Now, the thing about that, okay, this is also another thing. Don't listen to things that are stupid, and don't follow the rules if you believe that they're stupid. Now, what I deem as stupid may not be your definition of stupid, okay? And I want to make that really crystal clear. It's a very, very hard topic to say, and it's a very, very hard quote to say. I'll put it like that. Because for me, I deem what is stupid for me. You deem what is stupid for you. Your tolerance may be higher, if not lower. But I'll give you an example. There are certain pronouns that I will not call anybody. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? I will never, ever say, okay, hey, what's your pronouns? Oh, you identify as an airplane. Now, you may think I'm kidding. You may think I am kidding. No. No. And I think it's some of the more high schoolers that like in my time of growing up, where not everything could be a pronoun. Okay? Not everything, in my opinion, where you're gonna have people that will support you for whatever you want to be. I consider myself one of those people, as long as it's reasonable, where I don't go by society, you know, what society deems. But if you're identifying as an inanimate object, I think that's where I draw my line. And then I will say to yourself, man, that is stupid. And then you may or may not get offended. But as I've said, that is my opinion. And for me, you know, I've always had a chip on my shoulder where it shouldn't matter what strangers believe. But now in the age of media, everybody has to put in their 2 cents because everybody thinks that they're privileged, and via cutting somebody else's down or whatever, nobody, in my opinion, is very open-minded per se. But that's how I think. Now, I remember where I had to do a presentation on what I believed. Now, it was very weird looking back on it, okay? But I was selected for this club in high school, and it was called Unitown Unify Everybody. And I was selected simply because I was quiet and I was very nice to the teachers. And that's all. That's all. I wasn't unique at all on what they know because I was quiet. How do you know somebody's unique if they're quiet all the time? So, at the time, they picked a lot of kids that were in the Pride community. And I don't know if they thought that I was one of them, but as the news leaked, years later, the FBI kicked open this club and found out that it was a conversion camp that would try to convert the Pride people into killing themselves / making them straight. And it was very, very weird. The news article actually just happened last year, and apparently it's been going on for over a decade. So, when they came to me, and then they started asking me questions, they're just like, oh, he's a normie, basically, and they left me alone, but I never figured 2 and 2 together. And what I found out is, with my transgender friends at the time, they told, like, the administrators / teachers told them you can't tell anybody, and it was mind screwy, and I'm just like, really, like that sounds really dumb. So it was very weird. Like, there was a point where they separated the normal people, not the normal people, but I'm going off on what they said to us, where if they didn't think you were in the Pride community, and at this time, as I've said, like, I didn't talk to anybody. They just picked me because I was nice to teachers, and they just didn't know, so they're like, okay, you know, he's quiet, he'll keep his mouth shut. So they separated the people, and they did a presentation on kids ending their own lives, and one side was, okay, these people died because of drinking and smoking, but then the other side said they ended their lives because they were gay. And it was like a whole different presentation, and it's just so bizarre now that all the articles were leaked and everything, and, you know, everything was changing, and, you know, that I'm not, like, Arizona now, in my opinion, is one of the most pride-friendly states that I know of, and I've been to a few states from the military, so it's very interesting to me. But as a high schooler coming from Jersey, from a small town, from here, it's a totally different ballgame. Alright, so in my small town in New Jersey, we didn't have people of color. We didn't have a big Pride community at all, where it wasn't respected to be different. Okay, and here you could get away with it, where just be yourself, nobody cares, and that's the attitude where I really like. Who cares? Who cares what you like? Who cares and everything? Who cares what you believe in? But the presentation was, which I'm surprised, like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, because I thought of a very wise child, where, you know, you can't ask certain questions on a job resume, like what is your sexual orientation, what, you know, what's your religion, stuff like that. But in this club, keep in mind, you traveled up north to Flagstaff for 3 days, I believe. So no parents, no nothing. So it's very weird now that I think about it. But they asked, what is your religion? And what do you believe in? And it was a very interesting thing, because, you know, you got Christian, you got Hindu, you got Judaism, you got all these different religions, and literally there was other. There was other, and I was one of those people that had to choose other, and they're just like, well, what do you believe in? And I said spiritual. And then one other girl heard me talk, and she flipped sides. She's like, oh, I'm what he is. So then she joined my table after hearing what I was, and I don't know if she was into me. I was very oblivious in what, but what happened was we had to get up on stage and give a presentation on what we believe in, and it was just bizarre. Okay, it was very bizarre. I'm like, how do I explain this to a group of strangers? And I'm just like, well, okay, like, a lot of people think it's like it's conjoined, where there's so, like, once you say spiritual, they're just like, well, what kind? And that is such a valuable question. Well, what kind of spiritual are you? Hinduism, you know, Native American, and it's a valid question. And like, I just don't know, where I'm like, well, I don't really, it's not that I don't put labels on it, it's just like, well, I just don't know, because, you know, I don't call it religion, I don't even call it a lifestyle, but this is what I believe in. I believe in past lives, and when I was on stage, I'm like, well, okay, well, I had to come up with something on the fly, because the girl did not say jack. She didn't say jack. I'm like, really? Like, okay. So I basically had to get up there and be like, everybody close your eyes. And like meditate and just do deep breathings, and I forget everything that I said completely, because yeah, I meditate, which is good, but it's not really how I think about it, where I'm just like, yes, meditate and close your eye, like breathe in and unlock your third eye, and, you know, unlock it in a day, and I'm like, no. So I really had to come with some random stuff, and, you know, it's super bizarre. It's super bizarre, like, admittedly, and, you know, I'm the one that's saying it, and I'm like, it's super weird on how you feel, okay? Where there's not a book on this. Like, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is spirituality. Sell your soul. I just don't know. Because I don't go out of my way to... Yeah, absolutely. I've read several books on how to change your lifestyle and how to you know, believe in different religions, and, you know, because I am a firm believer where you can't talk about something that you at least have a little knowledge in. Like, you need to, like, it's so good, in my opinion, to venture off and learn different cultures. I truly believe that. I think, I definitely do believe in that, where the only thing that I don't do currently in different cultures is try different cuisine. And I've said this before, where I think you can learn a lot from different cultures via their food, but for me, I don't have someone pushing me to do it, because I don't care enough to try new foods. And if I don't want to do it, well, why am I gonna not do it? Because if I don't want to do it and you want me to do it, it doesn't matter what you think or say about me. And we got Divine Intervention and Hope Baby. Believe it or not, this episode was actually going to be talking about hope, but that I'm going to be saving that for another episode. So stay tuned for hope and what it's done for me in my lifetime, and, you know, everything in between. What am I writing? Well, if you know what I wrote, please do let me know, because I forget. But no, it's interesting to me. Like, I truly believe now the best way I describe people is, well, what do you like sexuality? Like, what do you like, you know, in the relationship form? And they give me an answer. I'm like, well, why? And 9 times out of 10, they say, well, it's how I feel. I'm like, well, there you go. This is how I feel. I can't describe it to you even if I tried. And they're just like, well, fair point. Like, I can't describe certain things. And past lives is just one of them. It's so hard, but it's such a good topic. Because I don't think, like, obviously they're not going to be teaching this in school. Period. It's very frowned upon. People think of it as witchcraft, where I completely get it. It's not even on the devil side, like what people think of. Yes, you're one with the devil. You could communicate with your past lives, so you shall be banished to the realm that shall not speak it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm sucking my thumb, because I'm just like, I don't care. Sure. Like, and the caveat is, we only go based on what there is off of books, and not what generally people feel. Okay? It's someone that's telling you this is what this is. I don't care how you feel or what you believe in. It's one way. Now, do I believe that they should be teaching that at a young age? Truly, I think it's at your parents' discretion. Like, I am a firm believer in that, where it's somebody could teach you, somebody could tell you so many different things, but in reality, it's what you believe in at the day. You know, nobody's gonna tell you what you are. It's what you believe in and what you know. Okay. So, I mean, what I've learned in life, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut, especially with its family. And if it's a hot topic. If you deem it as a hot topic, like politics, God, I will never talk politics, because I don't care about politics. But there's so many people that are just like, yes, that fuels my fire. Nobody will ever agree on politics ever in our lifetime. Just like nobody will agree on religion. So it's one of those things where you could keep your mouth shut and be the smarter person and not argue, and it could really benefit you in friendships, where I'm not saying, obviously, you know, don't share not private conversations, but hard-hitting topics, because I am a firm believer where certain hot topics could make a friendship best. You know, you gotta elevate that, where you gotta break that wall, where certain friendships, in my opinion, they could be crazy. They could be crazy on what they do, what they like, where certain things don't matter. Certain things like, oh, what's your favorite color? That doesn't make a human being, in my opinion. That, like, who cares about what your favorite color is? Who cares? That doesn't define you as a person. Oh, but I live on Captain Greenio, and, you know, I only eat green things. Okay, then that's a story to tell. That's a real... Okay, that defines you as a person. Alright. Does me believing and thinking and knowing that I believe in a past life, does that alter who I am? Potentially. You may think so. You may be like, oh, he believes in something that I don't believe in, so I am not conversing with this man anymore. And then I'll be like, okay. Like, I don't care. Like, why should I care? So, it's just one of those things. I don't, like, for me, as I've said multiple times, I don't care what your race is. I don't care what you're into sexuality. Like, I just simply don't care, because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, where I don't push people in believing what I believe. Like, never saying, like, yes, believe in past lives after you listen to this episode. No, I would never, ever do that to another human being, because it shouldn't matter. It should not matter, because it doesn't define me as a person. Where, if you get to know me outside of this video or whatever, if we talk, I will never just be like, oh yes, I believe in past lives, and, you know, it defines me. You know, I was this person, and no, it doesn't work like that. For me, at least for me, it doesn't work like that at all. But, you know, if it's different from you, cool beans. You know, maybe you believe in past lives, and you're just like, well, this defines me as a person. I am not this person. I live by this name, and whatever. I'll be like, cool. You know, I still think you're a cool human being. You know, I think we should be friends or whatever. And then you just take it from there. Where what's really your tolerance? What is your tolerance in being different? Where I don't believe in past lives to be different. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it doesn't even make me unique, because it's something that very majority people know, and the people that you know, listen to this, it's not a normal thing. It's not a normal thing. Where, think I'm crazy? Cool. You know, do I care that it makes me crazy? Or does it matter that you think I'm crazy? No, because I think deep down, absolutely, I probably was the definition of crazy at one point in my life, going through a lot of trauma. And also, shout-outs to trauma to another episode coming up in the future. Yeah, we're going to talk about some trauma that I went through, because, oh boy, hey, you can't live life without getting some trauma. That's a fact. That's probably one of the most truthful things that I've ever talked about. And, that's okay. I would never, ever... Trauma is what defines us as a person. It can make us grow, tear us apart, and make us heal. So, But stay tuned for that episode coming up in the week. But the question of the day is, do you believe in past lives? Do you? Because I'm curious. I'm curious now. And if you had a fever dream one time, of one time and like zero experience, I wouldn't deem that as like a past life, or be like, well, I feel this, and I'd be like, alright, cool. Nothing I've watched in any way, shape, and form has impacted on how I felt, by the way. Like, if people ever say, like, well, to show that you watch, no. Nope, I haven't. Nothing in my bones. When I see a character, I'm like, this isn't what I resemble, this isn't what I think. So, I think a lot of... I'm sure there's characters out there that are just like, oh yeah, well, you know, how do you believe this is you? I'm like, no, it's you know, it's very hard to distinguish where, you know, well, what's their names? It doesn't act like that, you know. I'm sure there was at one time, you know, it's partially why I sort of have, I don't have a dream journal, but when I wake up from a dream, I wake up and immediately I write it in my phone. I immediately write in my phone. I truly believe a biggest way to the past live realm / spirit realm is you can't sleep with socks on. I know it sounds really stupid, but I don't sleep with socks on, not at all. I try to be barefoot as most as possible, but I believe that you feel way more without your socks on, and your soul presence is the earth, and the more you walk on it, you know, you feel, and that's how I personally, I wouldn't say communicate, but I definitely feel more comfortable without socks. I'll put it like that, where I'm just like, I feel dangerous with socks on. But lately, I feel like I have morning voice, by the way, or I'm getting sick. But, sick in the head? No. I had socks on maybe 2 weeks ago for the first time in probably a year. Because one, Arizona is very hot, and I don't need to wear shoes. I wear sandals a lot. Especially in the house, I go barefoot. But I got very, very ill when I had socks on. And I didn't eat anything weird or anything like that, where I thought that's what it was. But because I was recovering after food poisoning at the time, where I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just a side effect of food poisoning. I got very sick. And then when I took my socks off, I felt the biggest relief. And my brain was telling me, take your socks off, take your socks off. And I just never listened. It was late at night. And I think subconsciously, my right foot took the left sock off, and I just felt so much better. But I think that's one of the weirdest things that make me, is I believe in past lives, and, you know, I felt it and everything. So, absolutely. I think that's definitely what makes me probably the weirdest. Probably the weirdest for sure. But, hey, I know I'm definitely not the only one that believes in that, and hey, I wouldn't have it any other way, in my opinion. But here we go. We have the final battle with Blue Baby. I'm definitely not doing a lot of damage as much as I want to be. I have really Gemini. I think King Blue Baby, I should have never took that. The bombs are probably doing the most damage. The greatest thing is tier rate my cheer rate's so fast, and we're healing. At this point, I knew I had enough damage to heal, and my attack fly, that was really one of the best buddies I could get. And it was a nice run, Blue Baby, but I won. I won. Oh. Thank you, past me. Yay. Yay is right. But if you like what you saw and heard today, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. If you have a comment for me or a question about past lives, please leave it in the comments down below. And if you have any topics that you want me to talk about in the future, please do let me know, and I'm sure I will get to it. If you like the post commentary, please also do let me know. But this has been Joe Wilde Plays. If you like what you saw and heard today, please do consider subscribing and following the links down below. Take care. I hope you're happy because you made me happy. Take care and keep on smiling. Bye-bye.